Hello fellow BookQuesters, today I have got the newest Rick Riordan book, The Chalice of the Gods, the 6th Percy Jackson book. I personally thought this story was really wholesome. It was almost like a slice of life for demigod life, and I thought it was really interesting. So I'll go into brief, spoiler-full plot summary, then I will talk to you guys about the analysis and obviously my opinion on the book. Well, let's get straight into it. So, the plot summary is that Percy is in his senior year of high school and needs 3 recommendation letters from the gods to get into New Rome University, which is the university that he's aiming for. And unfortunately, since Percy is a result of a broken pact between the big 3, Hades, Zeus, Poseidon, and yes, Hades, Zeus, and Poseidon, those 3. And they made a pact, ages ago, back in the before this series, was like, oh, we shouldn't make any more children because every time we make children, they fight, they create wars, bad things happen. All 3 of them managed to break the rules spectacularly, and Percy is, one of those broken rules. So basically, because of that special circumstance, even though it's not his fault, he needs to make up for that by getting 3 godly recommendation letters. And he needs to do a quest to get the recommendation letters, obviously, because we're in this universe now. So, Percy Jackson gets his first ever quest, and it's from Ganymede. Ganymede is an immortal god who is the Chalice, the cupbearer of the gods. And he has this cup that the gods drink out from, and Zeus essentially picked him up because he was so handsome and he looked like good eye candy, and made the poor guy immortal to be his eternal cupbearer. Yeah, I kind of feel sorry for the guy too. But basically, Ganymede has lost the Chalice of the Gods, the ultimate cup, the cup that, the gods drink out from, and also the cup that if any mortal drinks out from, makes you immortal, which is a little crazy. So we need to find the cup and get it away so that a random mortal doesn't drink and become an immortal. No pressure, of course. And we have 2 initial suspects. Hebe, or Hebe, I'm not sure how to say her name, and Iris. These are individually the goddess of youth and the goddess of rainbows. And basically, since they were both previously Ganymede's cupbearers, they thought that maybe these 2 might have been responsible. So we go and check them out. Hebe actually apparently has this arcade place in Manhattan, and it's a horrible place, but it has all these old arcade machines, very nostalgic stuff, like old style karaoke, and they realize that it's making people younger, and the place is actually a time capsule for older people like boomers and millennials, for them to go there and kind of reminiscence about the old days, and if they do certain things they can become younger, which is a little bit crazy. And so they go to Hebe and they're like, hey, did you kind of steal the cup? And she kind of gets really mad at them and makes them younger, like way younger. And Percy and Annabeth and Grover remembers how bad it was to feel young, to feel out of control in their bodies. And after a bit of a fiasco involving killer chickens, don't ask me to explain, just read the book, they manage to go back to their normal selves, and he basically says, hey, it's not me, so get out. So it's not Hebe. Then we have Iris. So we kind of contact one of Iris's children that we know from Cap Half-Blood, and they manage to go to Iris and get her audience, and she happens to run a farmer's market, which is very in character for her, considering how we met her in the Heroes of Olympus series, and she's chilling. And we ask her, hey, did you steal it? Maybe not. And Iris is like, okay, I didn't steal it, but if you want information about it, I can go look around. And I got the staff thing, it's really, really dirty. So if you could find the cleanest river in all of Greece and clean it where the serpents bathe in, you'll be good. And obviously they do this convoluted quest, and it has some good funny moments. They do that, they go back, and they find out from Iris that the guy who stole the chalice is someone named Gary, and we're like, okay, that probably stands for someone else, and we go ahead and try to find who Gary is, and they go to a park and they find Gary, and it's actually not Gary, it's Geras, the god of old age. Geras had despised how the cup can make people immortal, since he thinks that's very unnatural and people need to embrace their old age and eventually die. And he despises all of the gods who's never even matured because of their immortal nature, and he especially despises Ganymede forever, I don't know if I'm saying that right, forever young, forever beautiful, because he believes that is unnatural and goes against the cycle of life. And so we end up wrestling Geras and trying to get the Chalice back. And unfortunately, this is really bad because the last person who wrestled Geras and was the only person in the history of ever to have a stalemate with Geras was Heracles. And he's a bit of an exception. He's literally the Superman of the Greek universe. I'm pretty sure he could hold up the sky like Atlas if he really wanted. Like, this guy is the strongest person to ever exist. And Percy, while he's very, very strong, especially in water, is definitely not a Superman type of character. So Percy realizes he's going to lose, and then he gets this genius idea. Maybe it's not about fighting and grappling with Geras, but hugging him, accepting old age. And through that wonderful little part, he manages to hug it out with Geras, hug old age, and get the Chalice back, get it delivered to Ganymede in a very cliched manner, which you can find out how it went through the book, and mission accomplished. So, analysis. I think Hebe as a character is a great device to show Percy that he doesn't want to go back. And it kind of also shows how much he's grown as a character, from a boy who couldn't even control his powers to this hero that saved the world multiple times with awesome abilities and complete control over himself. And I think Hebe is a great device to show that eternal youth is not exactly a great thing. And growing up, although it hurts and obviously it's scary, is a right thing. Iris, I'm not sure what the symbolism is there, but she's there, I guess. So there's probably something there, but I haven't thought about it enough to come up with something. But Garrus, I guess, is the most blatant symbolism, where we see Percy hugging it out with Garrus, accepting old age instead of fighting it. The opposite of what Hebe is trying to do. And I think that's great. I think that's awesome symbolism, and it works really, really well. And I thought that was just great, and that's just my general analysis. Not much of an analysis since everything was pretty clear, but there you go. And as for relatability, it was really super relatable to me, because honestly, like, when I first read like Percy Jackson Heroes of Olympus, I was also a kid. And obviously, I don't think I was the exact age that this was meant for. I'm pretty sure I read these books when I was in 5th grade, 4th grade. So I was a bit younger than the intended audience, or like Percy's age back in the day. So that's a little different. But in terms of like the books, like it was my childhood, right? Like, these books, they were my childhood, and it reminds me of being a kid. And all of these characters were kids around my age, if not the exact age. And this book was exactly pretty much my age, because Percy's a senior and I'm a rising junior this year. So I'm also thinking about college apps and recommendation letters, and Percy needs to do impossible quests to get recommendation letters. I need to do ridiculous things also to get recommendation letters. So it was just really relatable to me on a personal level, because obviously it's something that I'm experiencing right now. And I thought it was really, really good. It was very relatable in terms of relatability, at least for me. Obviously, that's a subjective thing. And in my last book review, when I talked about Daughter of the Deep, which is right there, in my last Riordan book review, I talked about how I hoped that in a later book, Rick Riordan would deal with more mature themes or philosophical or existential themes, because I felt like he didn't have that touch, and it felt a little too formulated. And I felt like a lot of the stakes and what we had in these books just had this edge to them that just had a little more maturity, and that's what made them fun. And I think this book kind of accomplishes that through this growing up metaphor, through talking about old age and growing up. It's truly a coming of age novel, and we've been seeing the coming of age of Percy Jackson for so many books, but I think it's almost like a conclusion to Percy's character arc, and I really appreciated that, and I thought it was just amazing. And I honestly liked it a lot better than The Sun and the Star. Probably also because I've been seeing Percy for longer as a character, and I relate with Percy a little more than Nico or Will, because they were kind of side characters, let's be honest. But I thought that I thought that this just handled the growing up themes a lot better, and I like the focus on, again, the philosophical and existential themes. Obviously, I really did like The Sun and the Star as well, in terms of how it uses characters and just the relationship itself. I thought was beautiful. But this book just was more to my taste in terms of, again, the themes and the symbolism, and obviously it's the OG trio. Who can hate the OG trio? Like, seriously. So yeah, that's my entire review. I would give this book a solid 8 out of 10, which is a pretty high score. Obviously, I can't give it a super high score because it's not like a super original story, and it basically bases itself on a lot of the old books, so it's literally riding on a tsunami in terms of how good it is. But I still thought it was a great cap off to Percy's arc, and it was just really well executed. That's about it, guys. Have a great day, and like always, your plot quester, Aaron the Plot Quester. Have a great day, everyone, and goodbye.